Welcome back into the Locked On Leafs podcast. I'm Mike DeStefano with Dave Morisuti. We're hosts here at Locked On Leafs, and you'll notice if you're watching on YouTube, there's another gentleman who has popped up onto the screen here to help us kind of close out this podcast. If you're listening, it's my good pal Bouchard from Red Cape Sports. Does some sports card investing and collecting, and with the release of the brand new Upper Deck extended series, I thought who better to get than my pal Bouchard to kind of help us figure out exactly who are the trace cards in
Mm.
this year's extended series set. Before we kind of get into that, for those who are unaware, I guess, of how the hockey card market goes, can you just explain what the extended series is and what the hoopla is over it and maybe the reason why people are excited about it?
Yeah, so first and foremost, I mean, thanks for having me on. For those of you who don't know, Mike is also the hockey card guru. This is the man, just as much as I know. Mike knows just as much, if not even more. So, rest assured, Mike is definitely going to give you guys the greatest top five that he can come up with. Now, what is extended series? So, basically, you have series one where Upper Deck typically has one or two good chase cards, and then the rest, so. Okay, not the greatest, could do better. And then they make you wait for, the better rookies, which tend to be in Series 2. And then again, they fill it out. From my experience, extended series tends to be a lot of older players, a lot of European players who I'm just going to come out and say it, Mike. Uh, Not so investable players. From my experience, there's always that maybe one guy who, if you hit him, you're going to be really happy and you're going to make your money back. But for the most part, I mean, if you're playing the odds game, you're probably not going to pull a good card. Um, I tend to stay away from extended series myself.
It used to be like the young guns is what you're chasing, right? The young
Mhm.
guns rookie cards. And, they used to be included in the SP Authentic series. And then last year, they rolled out this new Upper Deck Extended because they had so many guys play their first games in the pandemic that they had an excess of rookies. And they're like, you know what? Why don't we create a brand new set? Make more money, Upper Deck said. So they announced this extended series. And I wasn't sure if they were going to do it again this season, but obviously they did, and
Mm.
they found another 50 rookies to put inside this set, which is an upgrade because last year, if I'm not mistaken, it was only 30 players that they had in their Young Guns set. I want to say,
Not many at
yeah.
all.
So they have a full 50-player set, which is what you typically get in Series One and in Series Two, and I was looking today. It sounds as though it's coming out about $130 for a hobby box. But we want to talk about some of the cards that are in this set and some of the top rookies that you can get if you're looking to go out and get these rookie cards. So we both Bird and myself, Dave, we've both compiled a top five young guns to go after, young guns to invest in this series. And I want you to let us know your thoughts on it. But we'll let Bird go ahead and tell us his top five, a little young guns power rankings coming out of the new Upper Deck 2021-2022 extended series, which released on Wednesday.
All right, so first and foremost, I'm going to come out here and say I really struggled to come up with my number five guy. The reason being for that is it's just a really, really, really weak class. And I've alluded to it previous to this. I'm not going to be picking this up. I'm going to be saving my money. However, if you guys want to go out and purchase this, if you guys want to go out and purchase just single cards, hop on eBay, go to your local card shop, and pick up these particular five guys, maybe three, maybe one, who knows? That's what I would do. But starting with number five, I'm looking at Scott Perunovic. And Mike's probably shaking his head here. Mike's probably going, oh no, he's starting it off very strong with a defenseman, a
I don't
23-year-old defenseman.
I don't mind that pick.
Yeah, so I mean, at the end of the day, like I said, it's really going to be there's different factors, and in the card hobby, we typically speaking, unless you got a guy like Hale McCarr or Adam Fox, we tend to stay away from defensemen. um, as the saying goes, chicks dig the long ball, while in hockey, goals are typically speaking what get you a lot of money. But yeah, either way, Mike, I'm going to go with Scott Perunovich here, just because, if there is a guy who's going to put up some points, this is going to be him. Now, he is older. He's 23 years old, which means his path to the Hall of Fame, not likely, not likely at all. But I mean, someone who's going to put up some points, whether or not the St. Louis Blues can continue to, you know, put up some long playoff stretches. We hopefully they get back to it, right? Hopefully they can win some more Stanley Cups. But for now, Scott Prunovich is going to be my number 5 guy. All right, you want me to keep going with
Yeah,
number 4?
Yeah, I think we'll do your top 5, then we'll do
Yeah, we'll
Mike.
go through your top 5, and then I'll go through my top 5. So who do you got number 4?
Alrighty, so number 4, I got John Peterka. So John Peterka, really interesting pick for myself. Um, German guy playing with Buffalo, but I like him for a variety of reasons. Number one, this is a guy who's putting up points, right? And he's young. He's 20 years old. So even if it takes him a while to, kind of find his stride in Buffalo and put up points, he's still 20 years old. So I really like the upside there. Anytime that you can have someone who's younger, it just makes guys much more investable. So I really like him. Whether or not he actually pans out in the NHL is to be seen. But again, bear with me, guys, because this entire class is weaker, like I said.
Yeah. Yeah.
Number 3. Number 3 is a guy who I'm really high on. I want to see him kind of break out of his shell. I want to see him do more. But regardless, I think his team is very up and coming, and that's Alex Turcotte, just 21 years young. This is a guy with the U.S. national team. He was phenomenal. There's a reason why he was a top 5 pick in the 2019 NHL draft. Even played some time at Wisconsin, and Mike, I'm a big fan of NCAA sports as a whole, and he did very well there. I don't think it's a league to be slept on. I think a lot more players are opting to go that college route, and Alex Turcotte is a really good player. Again, hasn't played much in the NHL, but I think that when he gets there, he's going to put up points. The market may not be the best, but then again, it's not an original 6 team, it's not a Canadian team, but at least he's playing in LA, and there's a lot of people you know who he can reach at least.
Yeah, it's not the worst market. Like LA is definitely not the worst market. Dave, you want
Yeah.
to say something about
Well, yeah,
Turk?
that's what I was gonna ask is like, a lot of this value, is it based on where the guys are playing? You just brought up Buffalo, which is another big hockey market too.
hmm
Is that why you maybe value certain guys in your list right now higher than others?
Yeah, like I said, first and foremost, probably going to be, well, maybe not first, because age, typically speaking, is a big one. But then again, right? I mean, if you got a guy like Kirill Kaprizov just a couple years ago, I mean, he came in the league and he was basically a grown man, but it didn't seem to matter because A, he put up the points, and B, Minnesota is a really big hockey market. Um, it may be a Canadian hockey market that's not New York, that's not, anywhere super big, but it's still a relatively big market. So I'm looking personally for, is this player young? Is he on a relatively successful team? But most importantly, a big market. So I said it earlier, I think original 6 team is probably going to be right behind Canadian markets, just because here in Canada we absolutely love hockey. Even if you have a stud player who plays on a good team, you know, in that original 6 market, even Boston, the reality is it's not a Canadian market, and people in Boston, you know. When Tom Brady was there, at least, and when the Celtics were winning, and when the Red Sox were winning, it just gets overshadowed. So, yeah, there's definitely a lot of factors that go into this.
Yeah, and actually a really good indicator of when it comes to driving it based on where the guy plays. Just if you're taking a look at some of the so it dropped today, right? Or dropped. We're recording this on Wednesday, so it did
Yep.
drop today. at the time of this recording. And you look at what what the asking price is for Michael Pezzetta and Justin Barron, two rookies for the Montreal Canadiens, arguably the best hockey market outside of the Toronto Maple Leafs in the world. And those guys are going for way above what they should be based on their talent level. Like
Mhm.
I was looking, and Michael Pezzetta is selling for like roughly $20, as is Justin Barron, and it's strictly because they are Montreal Canadiens prospects, and they know there's going to be a lot of people within that market that are going to be looking to collect that player. And it's at the end of the day, it all comes down to supply and
Mhm.
demand. But the final two players on your list, I'm sure it has nothing to do with. Is I'm pretty sure I know where you're going with it because I know who is in the set, but I don't think it has to do with market. These are two players that surely have to do with their skill level, putting them up at the
Yep.
top of the list.
Yeah, I mean, Mike, to be honest, I mean, I've done enough of these with you where I know that you're going to hammer out the top five as it should be. And I'm kind of going to pick and choose some other guys. I knew, and again, I don't know what your top five is, but that is why I went with number two, Seth Jarvis. Seth Jarvis, man, this is a kid who does a lot of things right. I'm a big fan of his. My New York Rangers absolutely made this guy look like a rag doll a few times. Made him look silly in the playoffs. I'd like to see him put on more body weight because, he might break by the end of 2023. If a guy like Jacob Trouba hits him one more time, he's not going to exist for much longer. But with that being said, this is a guy who played relatively important minutes in that rookie season. And I thought he did okay. 40 points in 68 games. That's not bad at all. And only 18 penalty minutes. This is a guy who, when he's on, he's putting up good numbers. He's putting up quality minutes. And again, he's playing a really important role there. On a team of bunch of jerks. And I truly believe that it's only a few years away until they're hoisting a cup. Like that's a really young nucleus and a really good, hockey, maybe not hockey market, but their Twitter game's strong. And believe it or not, that's important in this market.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
number one, again, I don't believe, I just want to go out on the record and say, I don't believe that there's a true chase card, even the true chase card. You can make a case for a few guys, but I went with Alexander Holtz. I truly believe this is going to be a guy who just comes into the league and takes it over by storm. Um, you know, if and when he gets to play with Jack Hughes, that's certainly going to be exciting. New Jersey, maybe not the biggest hockey market, but then again, the talent is just there. I mean, you can look at it. Uh, 47 points in 38 games. What else did he have here? 51 points with Utica Comets in just 52 games. There's a reason why he was a top 10 draft pick. So yeah, that's my top five. Again, if you're just a casual listening to hockey, I'm sure your audience doesn't have that. But if you guys are just kind of getting into the hockey card market, I would personally advise you to pick up the single cards that you want to buy. And also, don't go picking these cards up when this episode drops. Don't go picking them up. You're just going to overpay.
Yeah, wait a few weeks. These card values will drop immensely, like they typically do. It's always most expensive the day of, and even throughout the rest of the week. And then eventually they'll start to fall. That said, that's not always the case. If you'll recall last year, do you remember who the top player from last year's extended series ended up becoming? Not at the time of the drop, but ended up becoming
No clue.
Michael Bunting.
Oh my
He
goodness.
was not a member of the
Locked on
Toronto
Leafs. You guys love
Wasn't a
them.
member of the Toronto Maple Leafs at the time. There we go, a little ticker. We've got your top five there down below for
Hopefully
those
got
on
it in the right
YouTube.
order. Pretty sure I did.
Yeah, so who he has in his top spot: Alexander Holtz of the New Jersey Devils, Seth Jarvis of the Columbus Blue Jackets, Alex Turcotte of the LA Kings, JJ Peterka for the Sabres, and then Scott Perunovich of the St. Louis Blues. Not a sexy list, and that's really what I think we most people in the hockey card collecting community realized pretty quickly that this extended series Young Guns class not strong at all. I mean, when you're talking about guys like Holt and Jarvis as your chase cards, compare that to who were the chase cards in series 1 and 2. Yeah, Caulfield and Zegras and McTavish, Mo Sider, Lucas Raymond. Like those guys are much sexier players to go out and chase. So I'm with you when I say if you're looking to, I mean, if you're just a collector, you love to rip, and you just want to have the full set, sure, whatever. That's your prerogative. But you come at it from an investing standpoint, and that's ripping to get. Hopefully you get a Seth Jarvis, or hopefully you get an Alexander Holtz or a Turcotte. There's better ways to get it. Realistically, you can get this entire list for less than what you'll spend on a hobby box. So I agree. From an investing standpoint, probably not a hobby box that's worth buying. But if you want to just go out and collect those cards, that's why you got your local card shops. You can pick them up on eBay, wherever, and you can go and get yourself that Jarvis, that Holtz, or whatever. We had a very similar list we did. Like I had Jarvis. I had Jarvis and Holtz as my 1-2. I had Turcotte at 3. That's it. I had Jarvis as number 1, but you had Holtz. Sure. I switched those two, and then I had Turcotte, Peterka. I had Nico Dawes as my number 5 player, and
he was my 6.
So it's strictly because he's the goaltender of the future, I believe, for the New Jersey Devils, and this is a team that I think is on the up and up. So if he can grow into what we thought he could be when he led Canada in the World Juniors a couple of years back, maybe perhaps he becomes a valued card where people remember that and say, hey, I want his rookie card. And again, supply and demand is always going to be the clear, kind of the clear, or the main objective, I suppose. And that's how you're going to get your bottom dollar. Just really quickly, I had mentioned that Pizzetta and Justin Barron were two guys who, for the Montreal Canadiens, their prices were really high. For the Maple Leafs, just one rookie in this class for the Maple Leafs, and that is Alex Steeves of the Leafs, and his card right now roughly $10 I saw on opening day. So no, not too expensive if you want to get yourself an Alex Steeves rookie card, if you for all you Leaf fans out there. But yeah, really appreciate taking the time to join us today, Bird, and letting us know a little bit more about the new hockey card series that was released, the Upper Deck Extended Series for 21-22. And hopefully we can chat with you again down the road and get into some more hockey card stuff as the season gets a little bit closer. Appreciate your time, Bird.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. Always a pleasure.
Thank you so much. Well, that's going to do it for us here on today's podcast. I'd like to thank you all for listening and supporting the show. You can subscribe to Locked On Leafs podcast on all podcasting platforms and receive daily Leafs content. Follow myself on Twitter at Mickey_Canuck. Follow Dave at D_Morasuti. And also follow Bird. You can follow him on Twitter, and also go check out his YouTube channel, Red Cape Sports. And also for those college football fans, why don't you tell our good listeners what you're going to be starting up pretty soon for college football?
Yeah, so the first episode actually drops August 21st. Definitely go follow us on Twitter right now. That's where we're posting a bunch of awesome content until the launch date, and that's at RS Freshman, and that's freshman with an E, not an A. And yeah, it's just the place to go for your best college football podcast.
There you go.
One of
college football fans, go hit up my guy Bird Bouchard. He yammers and talks my ears off about college football all the time, so I know he knows his stuff. Leave a like on this video if you would like to do that, and go ahead, comment down below. Are you interested in more hockey card content? Should we talk about it a little more? Are you somebody who wants to get into it? And if you are buying some extended series, who are the players who you're excited to go out and collect from this year's set? Let us know in the comment section down below if you're watching here on YouTube. All right, for Dave and Bird, I'm Mike DeStefano. We'll be back with another episode tomorrow. But until then, keep it locked right here on Locked On Leafs.